I believe this is my bag. Roll call.
Rich, here. Brian, here. Chris, here. Nick, here. Dan, here.
All right, we'll open up public session, agenda items only. Anybody got anything for the agenda items only? District building report. Joseph?
Short one tonight. Pre-bid was the other day. We had all the contractors that were interested. Come take a quick look with Ed and his team. The bids are 8 days away now. My math is right, it's 21st. And we'll see what happens with the bids and all that stuff. Our container's getting dropped off tomorrow. So thank you to Mr. Durivage for arranging that. Bobby's been very helpful through this whole process. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. We got boxes from,
Maybes.
Yeah, Maybes, yeah. We got boxes from Maybes the other day. We purchased some, they gave us some, we got paper from them, so we're gonna mark it very, and start to tax stuff up, the smaller items. And the only other thing we really have is the compressor was fixed. And I think the chief will elaborate on that. But that's all I got. And I think we're rolling here 2 weeks. We should know what's going on. Thank you.
I just want to talk about the pressure now or see for your.
I'll see.
Department presidents. We'll start with Lionsville.
We got one member was turned in for the board for approval. As Joey said, we started packing things up upstairs and getting things moving. It's a slow process, but we're on it. So hopefully by next week, we appreciate it.
Right. The Freesville president.
We have no new applications for this month, and we have no new requests, for use requests for this month. We do, however, are in the process of taking photo shoots for the members and the building. Yesterday, we had a photo shoot of the building and the apparatus up for the fire department. We'll be doing individual portrait shots tentatively on January 18th, 19th, and 20th here at the FB. And the photographer had requested that we use his equipment here for those 3 days. And I'm not sure if we could potentially use the district conference room for that. And would we need to supply a use request for that?
And we can leave these out from right for calling. Okay. Take it again. They want to just lock up their equipment.
Correct. The idea is that on Thursday the 18th, or Friday the 19th, and Saturday the 20th, we'll be doing photo shoots of individuals during the evening hours when the members are working double. And then on Saturday the 20th, we'll be taking a group shot here in the apparatus. And that's all I have to report.
Okay. Yeah, you guys will probably use it until then. Approval of fair monthly meeting minutes, public hearing, you guys all got it in your box and print out in front of you. Made by Brian, seconded by Rich. On favor? Aye. Trustee Sean.
Bank recs are coming your way to review and sign off on. The money market account with the Bank of Greene County had a reconciled balance of, $1,014,599.21. Of that amount, $76,837 is for general fund. $528,510 is capital reserve equipment. $338,041 capital reserve building. Repairs balance of $26,209. Interest for the month was $2,543.87. General fund checking account had a reconciled balance of $133,518.34, earning interest of $403.47 for the month. The capital projects account for the upgraded WFE had a reconciled balance of $2,531,168.42, earning $6,346.30 worth of interest for the month. All those bank reconciliations, along with the bank statements, along with all canceled and cleared checks, along with a list of all the disbursements and the check numbers that tie out to those canceled and cleared checks, are attached to the said report. Any questions? And just to add on to that, I did file with the state our tax cap required filing for the next year's budget, so that's also taken care of.
Solution to close on. Roll call.
Rich. Aye. Brian. Aye. Chris.
Aye.
Nick. Aye. Dan.
Aye. Approval of the current policy. Rich, you had that?
Yeah, I looked them over, they look pretty much in order, it's a big amount, so don't get scared by it, but it's, if you look at it, it's four vendors take up the vast majority of it. There's some big ticket items there, so I had to pay some bills. I would move that we approve them.
Resolution made by Rich, seconded by Brian. Roll call.
Rich. Aye. Brian. Aye. Chris.
Aye.
Nick. Aye. Dan.
Aye. Correspondence.
Yes, received KeyBank FDIC insurance assets ending in 10/31/23. Received a letter from ShopRite regarding the store closure on 10/20/23. We also received a follow-up letter from ShopRite regarding the store closure and their plans on 11/10/23. Received the Association of Fire Districts of New York State Fire District Affairs Bulletin for October and November. We also received a letter from Christopher Wilson for his name to be placed on the December ballot for the 5-year commissioner's position. No, nothing that was sent.
Hey, Chris, one thing, I just received a text from Tiffany. She said the Eagle Park School District approved the exemption for the.
I was just about to say that because I got it in my envelope. So
That's
the other
good.
part did pass their exemption tonight. Literally just happened, I guess, from what he said. The only one to go is Little Red. Little Red's the only one. Agreed. Whole business, and we got anything for whole business? New business. Renewal of our preventive maintenance agreement with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that on there so that
We need to start discussing.
we need to start discussions. I did just inform Mike bone steel that, because he had asked about it, and I said that it was going to be discussed by the board. The current agreement expires at the end of this fiscal year.
I think we need to get our thoughts together as to what we want to do. I know there's been some challenges. I think there's been challenges with just about anybody you deal with regard to these kinds of things. The one thing I think that, the one lesson learned, this is the first time we've had a contract like this with a contract with any organization, that's my knowledge. The one lesson learned was that, we can't let them think, and we can't let them believe that it's an exclusive thing. We saw that with the engine and drivetrain stuff, that the motor drivetrain stuff, that we got to shop that stuff. It's ridiculous to pay them as a pass through for them to go to the same vendors that we would use, and sometimes a higher price than we would have paid. So it's that's some language that's going to have to be cleared up and need to govern with whoever we deal with. What other people's thoughts are on it.
Since the last time when they came to the meeting, when their representatives came to the meeting, have there been any other concerns or?
There's been little stuff, the chiefs have reported back that there are different things. We had some discussion about it a little bit during the apparatus review, because there was some items pointed out that people felt that so we had some discussion about it. I don't think it's anything earth shattering. Jeff has been staying on top of the appraisal stuff, and Adam stays on top of this stuff. So we don't have the foxes are watching the hen house, which is one of the goals. Yeah.
Do we have a recommendation or an opinion?
I was just gonna ask if any of the chiefs wanna chime in here about using Vanderwall again, or what would you guys like to see? Jeff, I know you also dealt with them quite a bit, so I mean, if you wanna throw anything out.
I'll say that they've done excellent work for, I think, the district, overall. We've thrown some challenging jobs at them, this year with respect to repairs. And, I think we, in the new contract, there may want to consider language to make it a little more clear as to the expectations as to what their tasks are under that contract, and then what responsibilities we can handle on our own. As with any dealer, it's my understanding that they're all very, very busy lately. They're low staff overall, all the vendors in this area. And so the work that we're requesting to be done is sometimes 3 weeks out to be scheduled unless it's a true emergency situation. But overall, I think they're doing good work. We'd be challenged to find another company to serve us, I think.
Jane,
Anytime I've had to call them after hours, they've always answered the phone, and they've always helped us in some way, shape, or form. As Jeff said, I mean, there's always something for what we're getting out of them. I mean, I think we're doing pretty decent.
We don't really make a financial commitment at this point, right?
No, and after the meeting, when they came here, there was a question over sole source. That was dispelled between the attorney and them. They never came back after that and questioned anything we were doing outside of getting an estimate from them and bringing it to another repair shop. So that sort of ended that issue of the sole source, but of course, making it clearer is not a bad idea.
So with the recommendation from the two departments, maybe continue.
I would say the preventive maintenance contract end of it went excellent this year, with respect to all the apparatus on the preschool side, and through my discussions with that, and the same on the high school side. So with respect to the contract itself, for the preventive maintenance, pump maintenance, and testing, all of that. They did excellent work for us.
We're not required to bid this.
It's services, if you're pushing 35,000, you might, but you know, you're at the 20.
And where we sort of tailored this the last time is because of the two new engines,
Yeah, okay, nowhere else, yeah, that's right.
right? So that's
Right.
kind of the way we,
Still the warranty work, yeah.
the warranty work, and that's why we did that. Do you want me to, see what they'll provide us, and then we can work on some language, and I can tighten up that language and, let Terry take a look at it and show it to the commissioners?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, we can't be the only one that they've got a contract like this with.
Yeah.
Obviously. They've done this before, so they know what they should be providing, so.
Thank you.
All righty, chief's report. Who wants to go first? Jane. You point to you first.
You got our calls, I just made a few minor purchases for the month. It's on there, the AEG supply and batteries and the delay device, so we can get our bailout stuff in service this month and next. Just a few things. Structure for we had on North Greenwich Road. I think everything went excellent. Quick knockdown. I think everybody worked well together. Still having an issue with recognized brakes. We're looking at possibly going and putting manual slide adjusters on. We're thinking that the automatic slide adjusters will it's common with those. So it's something we're looking into. We finally got the punch list for rescue or utility 9 back to the vendor. Thanks to Jeff on that. So we'll be getting through that punch list pretty quick. We had a local rescue drill up in the northern part of the county with 4 or 5 departments and Major Jackson. Everything went well. Actually, everybody works well together. That's all I have for my report, but, you know.
Thank you. Adam?
All right. As Bill mentioned, the SCBA refill station is almost complete. They were short the instruction panel, and that will be completed tomorrow night at 6 p.m. along with in-person training for members of Wine and Skill. So that'll be up and running and ready to rock and roll. For Rescue 42 was taken down to Navy's today for the radiator replacement, and along with that is the instrument cluster is going to be removed and sent out to the third party for the rebuild of that item. Hopefully it'll be back by the time Navy's is done, put it right back in, and then we'll be done with that project. Let's see, the follow-up on the solar project on Winter Street. Due to construction setbacks, we were supposed to have our visit in November. That's not going to happen. They're currently looking at May. So those of you who've gone by, you notice that the improvements to the road seem to be done. I haven't personally gone up there and checked further, but basically what I was told by Lindsay is she's hoping to have the fire departments up there for the walkthrough in May. Bailout training starts tomorrow night with the classroom. Saturday is the train the trainer, and then the next Tuesdays will be bailout for the general members. Fire prevention, we finished up with the 2 senior housing complexes, meeting with the residents and discussing the 2023 topics. We also attended the town Halloween parade, which was pretty well attended for being cold and rainy. And then up and coming, we have the North Greenwich Holiday Parade and the Sand Lake Holiday Parade, which will be on December 2nd and December 3rd. So just looking for the blessing from the commissioners to use the apparatus to attend those events.
Don't we pre-approve that at our organizational meetings? I think as long as you're okay with it.
You do.
I want surprise.
I got one thing to add to my report. Are you all done now?
I'm good.
Adam, myself and Dan did a walkthrough down at 120, 25 and 29 Fish Drive. That was the old building that was like a startup company for the Tech Park. It used to be yellow. It's already done. Actually, White companies is going in there. All four of their companies or whatever it is, contracted company, non-union, the whole deal. It's very nice inside. It's very scary. To give you a heads up. There's a lot of void spaces. They got the HVAC in the void spaces in the attic space. The utility room has no outlet to the outside. If there's ever a fire down there, it's gonna be a good time. It's just one stairway going down. But the good part of it is, it's probably an asset to have like for companies in our district now. If they need anything, he said definitely ask. But that building was chopped up back then. It's very nice. It looks like, but it's still chopped up. It's actually 3 different businesses, 4 different businesses, and there's 3 addresses in that building. So just give you a heads up.
Thank you.
With that being said, would it be appropriate for the board to send them a letter welcoming them to North Greenwood? Would that be appropriate?
That's they're a good neighbor to have in town. They're going to have on our side in case you need the equipment for a bad call or something. It'd be a good one to have or something.
Yes, we'll send a letter welcoming to the town.
Thank you, Webb, for taking care of the other.
Do we have contact information to send the letter to?
Actually, we get a hold of Joe Hogan, right?
We have a business card. For,
Yeah, we got the vice president's business card, but yeah, you can get the driver Joe
Yeah. Get back to driver Joe.
Hogan.
Ready, standing committee reports.
Yeah.
Apparatus and equipment.
You have to purchase.
Oh. Purchase for the freeze bill for the AV pads and batteries, total of $398.
So,
All in favor?
Rich. Aye. Ryan. Aye. Chris.
Aye.
Nick.
aye.
Dan.
Aye. Okay. Standing committees. Brad Gates.
We had 2 meetings during the course of the month, since the last month's commissioner meeting, with the apparatus review committee. The first one was kind of go over the expectation of the board and go over some of the information that you already had in hand. And Jeff compiled a bunch of, between Jeff and Bob, they compiled a bunch of the pistols related to repairs that are here today, maintenance of that. So we went over a little bit of that. Then the 2 respective groups went off to their own stations and had a week or so to kind of get ready. The apparatus, their own individual stuff. We had a real good meeting the other night. We spent about an hour and a half, a little better than an hour and a half at each of the 2 stations, going over the trucks, looking at compartments, looking at ideas. And I think, unfortunately, Sean, this kind of thing in the end winds up cost us money. But I think a lot of good ideas got flushed out just the other night. So I'm not going to talk much about it. Maybe and let them talk a little bit about what their report is and their report out. You guys discuss, should I go first or how you're going to do this?
You're on, go ahead. Our report was given to Bob for inclusion in your drop boxes, so you should have our report, and John, I actually gave them what you did the other night, so they have that in their drop boxes. From the preschool station, Our assigned work group consisted of First Assistant Chief Brendan Galligan, Captain Keith Slupski, and myself. Our task was to conduct a review of all of our apparatus with respect to conditions, status, pending repairs, future needs, some cost analysis, and provide suggested revisions to the apparatus rehabilitation and replacement plan document, which was dated 2022. The DeFrisco work group met on October 30th. We reviewed the 2022 and 2023 invoices for repairs of the apparatus at this station, and we physically reviewed all the apparatus with lists of reoccurring issues and needs, which we prepared and outlined further in our report. We took into consideration the vehicle age, status, financial impacts to the district, and we compared that to the 2022 long-term report when we made our recommendation. So I'll go apparatus by apparatus. It shouldn't take too long. Starting with Rescue 9, this is a vehicle that we had the most repairs to over the past year. It typically has the most repairs for our station. It's a 2007 KME engine tanker rescue. It had a rehab several years ago where it was converted into more of a dedicated rescue. It's currently 16 years old and has mileage of 26,497. It was previously scheduled for replacement by the district to be in 2023, and then it was changed out to 2026 in the 2022 report. In this year, we incurred a lot of repairs with respect to the rear brakes, front end suspension, scene lighting replacement. We had issues with the air brake system where we had to have the air tank, 2 of the air tanks replaced, brake control valve replaced, and associated components where severe corrosion occurred with that apparatus and the brake system. Thankfully, we didn't have an on-road incident, and it was identified and repaired in a timely manner. The vehicle has a history of, and it's documented, of a chassis electrical interference problem, which caused undetermined internal engine corrosion, which is known as electrolysis, for those of us in the boating industry, relating to its cooling jacket inside the engine. And there's a lot of components that are yet to be realized with the effects of that electrical leak within the apparatus, meaning like computers. Most recently, we've had check engine lights come on intermittently, and both air pressure gauges have fluctuated for no reason at all, and we cannot get an error code to come up on the truck computer system that a dealer would be able to identify the cause. On November 7th, prior to this meeting, we conducted a CAS test, compressed air foam system test, just to see how it would function, because that's not something that we use every day. Unfortunately, that system malfunctioned, and we believe it's because the foam has coagulated inside the pump system, the gas foam system and filter system. I've contacted Vandermolen, and they're at least 3 to 4 weeks out until they can take a look at that. So as of right now, our CAPS is out of service. In speaking with our chiefs, the decision is made that we're going to have that system cleared and made functional, but that we're going to run a dry system. We're not going to fill the foam tanks because we just anticipate future problems with it, primarily due to lack of use. The manual says that we should be flowing foam through these systems every 2 weeks. And, you know, there's concerns about foam and safety and health, and also the expense if you were to run foam every 2 weeks through that pump. That's going to be costly to the district. So we feel that would be a fair remedy. We have equipment to hook up foam manually on the trucks if we have to fight fire. So, you know, we're not going to be left without foam capability. In 2023, the budget repairs cost $24,000 plus for that vehicle. It was the highest cost vehicle in our station. You have the matrix and the invoices for that. The work group suggests that this vehicle continue to be maintained as a rescue truck, which, because it's a frontline piece of apparatus that we quite frankly can't do without. The repair invoices show the fire district has invested a large amount of funds for this, basically 1/4 of the district maintenance budget into this vehicle because of its reoccurring problems. And that the vehicle be scheduled for replacement no later than 2028, knowing that it's anticipated the district is going to be replacing truck 4-2 between now and then. The district should start pre-planning now is our recommendation for that replacement, so that they can develop a more clear date as to when that vehicle should be replaced. With respect to 9.6, that's a 2005 E1 engine tanker. It's been in service for 18 years. Its mileage is 31,100 miles. That was previously scheduled for replacement in 2030. In 2023, this vehicle had a few repairs, notably a lot of fire pump valve replacements. Front brakes were replaced. The drive shaft carrier bearing was replaced. And a cab lift seal was replaced. It has a few areas of aluminum body corrosion that's showing on the lower part of it. And the roll-up door seals should be replaced according to our vendor, Vandermolen. They made that recommendation in their preventive maintenance report to us. We also have a lot of tool mounts that need to be replaced. And we have a couple valves that are pending being looked at for leaks by our vendor. This year, the budget repairs for that vehicle cost $9,700. Again, the cost matrix and invoices you have. The work group here, Teresa, would suggest this vehicle continue being maintained as it has been a solid piece of apparatus for its purpose. The response guide. The work group strongly suggests this vehicle be rehabbed in 2025, so to address the body corrosion. That is an all aluminum body on that vehicle, before it extends past when it could be properly repaired. Also, during a rehab, the committee has identified that some of the rear compartments could be reconfigured to better meet the needs of what the tasks are for that vehicle, and also have the under body chassis inspected thoroughly to see if there's anything that might need to be addressed under there during the rehab. The rehab project should allow that vehicle to better serve its expectation for fire service to be frontline engine for 25 plus years until its replacement is scheduled in 2030. So, you know, the truck is solid. It's been good for us. And I think with that rehab, it'll clearly make the 2030 plus years of service life. 9.7, that's basically a brand new vehicle, 2021 Sutton engine tanker. Been in service for 2 years as our first due almost air incidents. The mileage is 6,200 miles. It's scheduled for replacement in 2041. The work group suggested the district are currently both 9.7 and 4.27, which were both bought at the same time in 2021. The work groups on both sides, Wayne Scale and Decreaseville, feel that the district should offset replacement schedule for those two vehicles so that they're not both due at the exact same time. So when financial planning is done, that should be taken into consideration. This past year, we did have a few repairs relating to the pump drain leaking. We had air conditioning warranty work done. Exhaust warranty was completed. We had a minor coolant leak and a few electrical adjustments that were done to the truck. Overall, the truck has been a rock solid vehicle for response, and it's been a pleasure to operate. I know the district has obtained quotes from Vandermolen to replace the manual MIV intake valve on the officer side of that truck. And that would be, I believe, applicable to 4.27 as well. We have found most operators of the truck, when they're operating at the scene, having a manual MIV valve on that officer's side is extremely difficult because you're trying to pay attention to all your gauges and your flows, and having to run around the other side of the truck and then come all the way back on a regular basis to make adjustments is really inefficient and unsafe. So by adding an electric MIV valve, that would resolve that problem, make it more consistent with the current apparatus that we have in service. Also, I believe you have a quote for extending some steps on the front of that vehicle, and that's up for further discussion. The committee really didn't look in depth into that, but the district has a quote for that as needed. In 2023, we spent $6,000, a little over $6,000 for preventive maintenance on that truck, which isn't bad. Like I said, we haven't had any problems. Rush 9, the next one, that is a 1999 Dodge Ram 3500 4x4. The truck has already been in service for 24 years. It was one rehab conversion where it used to be a dual purpose brush and first response truck. It was converted to a dedicated brush truck in around 2008, 2009. It has mileage of 9,300 miles on it. It's currently scheduled for replacement in 2032, according to the 2022 report, which is the same as first response 9, but to our committee or our work group's opinion, that's unrealistic because that would make the cab and chassis of that vehicle 33 years old. And the expectation of having a cab and chassis in service as a emergency response vehicle in today's world is that's probably not the best thing to do. In this past year, we had preventive maintenance done on the vehicle. It needed minimal repairs due to loose exhaust, compartment door struts replaced, very minor electrical work done. We had a front tire fail, which was replaced. And most recently, we identified a steering problem where there's an upper steering wheel pinion bearing that is worn. However, it's not unsafe to drive. And we're awaiting one of our vendors to find a used steering part for that vehicle because I've been told that there is no new old stock for that steering system that's available, and we haven't found any aftermarket parts to be able to replace that with. So we're currently searching for a used part that would be under 100,000 miles on that used vehicle that it would come off of to put into our truck. The cab and body are in excellent condition, and it functions well as for what it has to respond to. This past year, the district spent $2,200 for repairs. Again, you have the invoices. Our work group suggests that well prior to 2032 that the district reevaluate merging this vehicle, with Rescue 9 as either a dual purpose response vehicle, which we kind of found didn't work before when we had it as a dual purpose vehicle, or conduct a rehab where you could eventually just replace the cab and chassis with just a box right on that new cab and chassis. Another alternative to be considered, which is under discussion, is potentially purchasing a UTV and a hauler outfitted with remote low-ankle rope rescue and brush fire response capabilities. And that may end up being a cost savings advantage for the district if you wanted to replace that whole brush truck. If you wanted a UTV type system, that might be an alternative for that vehicle. So the preschool station has responded to woodland areas requiring low and medium angle rescues with their rope systems. And we're currently on response guides in Rensselaer County for that type of resource. So having UTV would help, obviously, with that type of rescue situation and for brush fire. With respect to first response 9, that is a 2009 Ford F-450 4x4, currently used as our EMS mini EMS squad vehicle. The mileage on it is 12,800 miles. It's scheduled for replacement in 2032, same as Brush 9. However, it's a much newer vehicle. In 2023, this vehicle incurred minimal repairs where we replaced all the tires, roll-up compartment doors, had some repairs, preventive maintenance was done. The body and chassis are in excellent condition, and it serves as a backup when Rescue 9 is out of service. The only issue that we have on that truck is a towing wiring harness that apparently has been a persistent problem over the years. And we're gonna have that looked at again. 2023 budget cost for that vehicle is $3,200, very minimal for what that vehicle does. Again, we suggest the vehicle could be due for replacement in 2032, but again, it should be offset with that brush truck replacement with whatever the district decides to do with that. Our last vehicle is Utility 9. It's a brand new 2022 Chevy 2500 4x4 pickup truck, which has conversion over to carry fire police equipment. It's only got 313 miles on it. An exact scheduled date for replacement is kind of really pending because it's a brand new vehicle, but we should be able to get a minimum of 10 plus years service life out of that vehicle, if not 15 years. We do have a minor punch list items, but things that we gotta get done on that vehicle relating to the daytime running lights that flicker when the truck is running. We believe that's something to do with the modification of the LED lights that was put on it. Also, the tailgate will need to be re-lettered, and we're getting a quote for that. We're looking at a fire extinguisher and mount to the body, and also the custom shore power auto eject system is going to be rewired at no cost by the vendor, so that it'll eject the shore power immediately when you turn the ignition. Currently, it's wired through the power saver unit, which puts a 10 to 15 second delay on ejecting that shore power wire. And if somebody were to start the truck and immediately drive out the door with it, there's only one wire. So the vendor agreed with me when we spoke to him that needs to be changed over so it's an immediate release when that truck starts up. So, submitted this to Bob Durivage so that he could share it with the members of the board. Prior to completing this, I also consulted with our chief and other assistant chief that were not part of the committee, and we are all in concurrence that the recommendations are what we're suggesting at the work group from the police station on. If anybody has any questions, I can answer more later, but I'm sure John has a report here to get to as well.
All right, so I want to say thank you to Jeff. Jeff and Bob crunched some hard numbers and went through all the data and provided us even with some the cost analysis of for the year of repairs and whatnot. So that kind of brings us up to just jump right into looking at the trucks. Let's see. Jeff started with the bad end of the good, so I'll get the easy stuff out of the way. The 3 Chiefs cards. There's really no plans for updating any of those apparatus. I can speak to the oldest of that fleet, and it receives preventative maintenance and minor repairs as needed. I'm not aware of any major defects with cars 2 or 3. Utility 4.2 is less than 2 years old, barely older than a year. It's used regularly, but let's be honest, it's a pickup truck that has letters on it and the lights in the siren. That is it. Preventative maintenance on that. I'm not aware of any major upgrades or repairs that need to be afforded to it. Go ahead and take out 9 before the 7. Put 42 in there. Painted yellow. We have the same one. Brand new truck. Probably has almost identical mileage since they go just about everywhere together. No issues, minor repairs, Vanderwall built it as well as they could, but nothing's fireman proof. So we're going to break a couple of little things here and there. not aware of any major repairs, or alterations that need to be made. Sorry, I skipped over to Squad 4-2. Squad 4-2, it's about 10 years old. Over its life, it's been plagued with some electrical issues, charging, wiring, stuff like that. But it has not been prevented from being in service for an extended period. Those issues have been corrected by GK pretty easily. On to the harder stuff, the bigger ticket items. We got looking at Rescue 42. As you're aware, it's an engine rescue, even though it's designated Rescue 42. After talking about it at length, both sides of the committee were pretty well in agreement. I do believe that rescue truck is due for lack of a better term, a facelift that the former 9-2 to Rescue 9 got. Rescue 42 was 2007. I don't have the exact mileage off the top of my head, but it's somewhere over 20,000 miles, less than 30 for sure. It is not first due to many alarms, so it has not gotten drugged through the ringer. It is in great shape still. It's got a couple bumps and bruises, but I believe the consensus is if it gets re-outfitted with some proper shelving, seeing as it is now carrying almost an entirely new complement of tools, as opposed to what it was carrying when it was spec'd and designed and built in 2007, it very well could exceed its expected service life, which would be a great cost savings to the district and the taxpayers. We got some wonderful ideas from the guys at the Frisco who've already gone through this process. They worked with the vendors and the experts on what products and mounts and solutions are available and to be retrofitted into Rescue 42. I don't think the scope of work would be much different than what the guys at Station 9 did. I believe you guys said it was somewhere in the ballpark of $20,000 to $25,000 for the work, which would severely undercut the cost of buying a whole new rescue truck just to store and transport equipment and men there. Sean smiled about that because I'm sure he likes that idea. So with that in mind, it seems like the Commissioner French and Wilson were kind of all for nothing terribly official, but at least a committee from Winesfield getting together and starting to lay out some ideas, talk with some vendors and procure some preliminary estimates on cost of what it might be, what it might cost the district to bring Rescue 42 up to a more current, safe condition, right? We've got equipment that's kind of just being stored, not really how it's meant to be. And there's also technology that is far surpassed what was installed at the time. To name a few LED lights, there's currently still a Hurst pump on it that we don't even have the Hurst tools stored on that apparatus anymore. We've got a air compressor on board that probably hasn't been maintained in some time, and it would be great to have that officially serviced. What else do we have? A lot of it comes down to mounting solutions, some more thorough preventative maintenance that it's going to get from just your once over oil change and tire rotation. I don't know, Scott, do you have anything I missed there on that?
No, you got it.
Yeah, it did have some bigger repairs, i.e. the radiator. It's at Mavy's right now. And one thing that I brought up to the committee was that although we no longer have it, 426 was its twin, and that apparatus got used much more extensively. And just to get an idea of what could possibly go wrong or need replacement on a similar schedule, it would be to look at the records of 426. What was replaced, what was fixed at what intervals and mileages and whatnot. So you know, the district may get a good idea of what is to come with Rescue 42. Once we get to Truck 42, we took a great look at Truck 42. It's not broke down, beat so bad that you're saying, wow, you know, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? What it comes down to is that the truck is a 2003. It's 20 years old. It has 20-year-old hydraulics. It has a 20-year-old aerial ladder. It has a 20-year-old drivetrain and motor. Everything's getting very tired. The turbo on the motor, the boot is blown 2 and 3 times, and it sounds like a bomb is going off in the cab when you're riding it. The hydraulics for the aerial has had a major overhaul. It's, to my knowledge, the aerial's only ever been destructive tested. It's never had non-destructive tests performed. I could be wrong, right? So there may be stresses to that aerial that we're not aware of. I'm not a hydraulic expert, but I'm pretty sure 20-year-old hydraulics aren't going to be as great as something brand new out of the box. And I'm not going to speak to the safety of what we currently have, just because that's not my expertise. But I can tell you right now, you throw that truck up into high idle and try to swing it around, raise it, extend it, especially while it's in pump gear, it doesn't have the thrust or propulsion that more modern apparatus have, newer apparatus with newer hydraulics. Very similar to the Rescue, although it doesn't have the same complement of specialized tools. A lot of the mounting solutions are broken, been replaced, are worn out. You know, the design off the rear end with the LDH storage, as well as the ground ladder complement, is slightly lacking, at least in my opinion. We've lost 427 now out of the fleet, so that's an engine worth less ladders that we have showing up to fire scenes. Okay, so having a larger ground ladder complement out of the only truck that is dedicated to this district, I believe, and I don't think I speak alone for the committee when I say that, is pretty important. We've got 2 awesome engines that are ready to serve the district, and I believe we need to have a proper ladder truck that supports those engines. Thanks, buddy. I believe we need to have a proper ladder truck that's going to be in service more, and is going to be, it's going to have the trust of the men, or the firefighters, when it shows up on scenes. Let's see here, missing thing. I don't think so. Scott, did you have anything I missed?
The only thing, when you're talking wear and tear, is we had trouble with it shifting. We couldn't figure out what was going on. So, when they looked at it, they found that the transmission was coded to the engine under, when it was brand new, the power that it had. So, as its engine got tired of the decrease in power, that was causing the shifting problem. So they had to reboot it and get the transmission light back up in the engine. It shows some of the wear and tear adjustments being made to, and like John pointed out, how the tower's operation is slowed down. Again, just because it's 20 years old.
Just, Jeff just reminded me, again, to speak to the age and wear and tear of the hydraulics. More recently, it's been noted as well as just sitting there in the bay, even the bucket sags. It's not responding properly while you're raising and lowering the ladder, so it kind of inhibits the use and the function of the ladder. It's noticeable. It's noticeable. There's leaks somewhere. You know, I think we brought it up. It'd probably be an astronomical number in man hours for the diagnosis, as opposed to the part that needs to be replaced on the hydraulics. To be quite honest, you know, it's just if I had to guess, right? So. The only truck that has to get to the district. So.
Any questions for the committee?
Question. First, very impressive reports. Thank you for being so thorough and detailed. Did the committees, and if not, could they, is everything being kind of looked at in isolation, like DeFreeze, Feld, Wine and Skill, as far as like future recommendations for replacement and overall apparatus needs, or is any of it being looked at as a true whole district of what we?
What the committee did, I thought I explained this, you know, I'll give a clarification message. The Wine guys looked at the 3 rigs over there and the DeFreeze guys looked at the 3 rigs here. Then they got back together and 8 of us looked at all 6 rigs together. I mean, with flashlights and.
No, I know that,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so it was being looked at and discussed as a district, not as 2 individuals.
Right, but I meant like moving forward, and I'm not questioning anything on it. You know, we have 2 rescues, we're looking at, okay, do we need 2 rescues? Do we need that? Is any of that being looked at?
I think the plan, the apparatus.
I'm just using that specific piece as an example.
Yeah, we had lots of discussion along the line, but keep in mind that the committee's not an apparatus committee, it's a review committee. So, yeah,
Well,
we had some.
Apparatus needs.
We had some off the cuff discussions on some things that would be, could be, should be, might be, you know, shouldn't be kind of thing. Yeah, we looked at I would say we looked at a lot of that stuff in the discussions. I turned to the committee members and asked them to you know, chime in if they want, but nothing formal. If you look at the apparatus plan, current apparatus plan calls for 2 engines and a specialty piece out of each station. And in the case of, well, actually, 1 engine, 1 specialized engine, and then a specialty piece out of each station. In the case of Wine and Skill, it's supposed to be an engine company with rescue capability, all right, and a truck. In DeFreeseville, it's supposed to be an engine with fast capability and a heavy rescue. And it's going to take us a while to get to that point with, since the consolidations with we discussed that, we looked at that in its entirety. So lots of.
Because of all comes into play as
Yep.
far as
Absolutely.
financial planning for the future and.
Yeah, and I actually notes on that. I'm just curious what everybody else got before I.
But thank you. Good reports.
Just when we were preparing the reports that we presented tonight and that we actually handed into the district, without having too much, we don't have any authority with respect to financial planning for the district. We had some numbers provided to us within the 2022 long-term report. So when we made our recommendations, we tried to spread things out alternately so that not to pile everything in on the same timeline. So our recommendations, should probably be looked at overall. Both of these reports, my suggestion would be is to take both of these reports and merge them into one report with the districts, again, reevaluating their financial ability to accomplish these goals as recommended by the work groups. It is an expensive venture.
Well, and that's just why I think,
Yeah.
as we look forward,
And
we just have to make sure we look at things holistically
Yeah.
and not as 2 islands.
totally, and again, we're just pretty much pushing the information forward, saying, this is the status of the apparatus. We don't want to let things go too far, because if we do, then we get into safety issues, and we don't want to have that happen to us. So we're trying to get ahead of it, with respectfully trying to pay attention to the finances of the district as well, when we're together with our recommendations.
If I can, I would say, this is not something that you can take these reports and say 20 years down the road, well, we got this report from 2023 that says this. You could blow a head gasket on 427 tomorrow and, you know, that's that, right?
Well, and they're living documents in that point you were
It's a
actually.
snapshot.
Well, I mean, it's a living document, so maybe 2-3 years ago, we thought, all right, well, you know, she's supposed to have a special, you know, but I think it should be
Right.
reviewed periodically, and I think the fact that
100%.
these committees met, and I think merging those and kind of coming up with some.
As Jeff stated, you're not gonna wanna replace both of the sevens at the same time, and that's gonna be a thing where 16, 17 years down the road, the district has to say, which one's in better shape? And the one that's in better shape stays, the one that's in more need of replacement has to be replaced. Because you're not gonna wanna be on the 20-year cycle of replacing 2 engines, not every year. Or excuse me, every 20 years.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I just had two quick ones, well, three to count. Thank you to everybody on the committee. I mean, it's an excellent report. Appreciate all the work that went into it. Just a couple things jumped out, Chief. Rich report too, you mentioned the yard compressor not being serviced or maintained. Is that something we shouldn't be waiting for our rehab project? We should be actually getting that service and maintained, like under maintenance now? Or did you, I misunderstand it?
I wouldn't disagree. Well, Scott just kind of said it. It's one of those items that it's not used all the time. Unfortunately, well, no, fortunately, excuse me, we're not going to car accidents every other day. We're not doing pin jobs, you know, 100 times a year. We're not using those air tools all the time.
Yeah.
And we only have so many drills per year. And how many can I dedicate to extra?
Yeah, it's sort of not being serviced and maintained, got on trouble.
Right. Should that fall more to checks throughout the year? Absolutely, but unfortunately, things fall by the wayside.
I get it. I just, when I hear something's not, being serviced, we should be able to service stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The other thing is truck 42, right now, we've got 3-year replacement time. Do you see any major repairs, keep that thing running for 3+ years? We don't have a committee on it yet. That's gonna be 6 to 12 months to get a group going. So you'd be looking at 4 years for a truck. Do you foresee any like major repairs to keep that thing running? You're talking about members have confidence, the bucket sagging.
As Scott mentioned, the shifting problem has been fairly constant for quite some time, even since back when I was a lieutenant years ago, the fireman. You've heard that beeping of the shifting issue for quite some time. The hydraulics is good right now.
Right, I know you're not Nostradamus here.
You know,
I'm just thinking.
You blow a seal, that could be taking the entire ladder bed apart. Who knows?
I just like to, Brian, to your point on that ladder truck, and Sean, not to bring up bad memories, but we spent a lot of money on just the aerial device in the last 3 years. And I don't know, they could go for its aerial inspection, they could find something else. I mean, those aerial inspections alone, we're finding tens of thousands of dollars in problems.
And I was just thinking, like, if there's something that's, we're gonna keep this till 2027, 2028. We really gotta get something major done. In the interim, we knew about that.
Well, we're gonna use it for drill tomorrow night, and we're gonna see what happens.
All right, Sean, you ready?
Try and answer your question more directly. I would say no, there's nothing glaring us in the face that says this needs to be fixed right now. But it's the accumulation of small issues that have turned into big repairs that haven't slowed down. And that the age is really the only thing that can be attributed to it. Thanks.
Yeah, I got some comments, some of which I jotted down here, some of which I thought about after meeting with the group the other day, and I appreciate everybody thanking them, because they did a tremendous job on this, and they really pulled a lot of good information together and a lot of good ideas, and I genuinely appreciate the work into pulling this all together. Some notes that I have on it, first off, on cash, we're having trouble with cash, both sides of town. we had trouble with cash on 426, which is now gone. I don't think you'll find a bigger proponent of cash in the district than I was. But I think the experiment has run its course. While it's an effective firefighting tool, and I'll never doubt that, we saw that multiple times. I think the maintenance of it, especially now as the rigs are getting older, the experiment's run its course. If chiefs want to run dry, I support that. At this point, if they came back and made a recommendation, you should abandon the gas and disconnect. We're not going to, it's not going to be a gas engine. Same thing goes for replacing that foam pro unit, we're fixing that foam pro unit on Rescue 4 too. I just don't know what the bad with it. With regard to the rehabs on both 9.6 proposed rehabs, or discussion about rehabs on 9.6 and Rescue 4 too. If we wait, and I'll use 9.6 as an example because that's the one I wrote the dates down on. It's the committee proposed it for 2025, which means if we schedule it for 2025, the vendor's probably going to have it on a typical rehab. You know, they tell you 2 weeks, but it turns out in usually 4 months. I see Danny smiling. So the vendor's going to have it 4 months at least out of the year. All right. So we get it back with 4.5 years left before it's scheduled to go. So my thought on both of these, 9.6 is a 2006, I believe. Rescue 4.2 was a 2007. My thought on both of these is let's get a spec out there now and start those rehab processes. Whatever it is we're going to do, we'll get them done, and that we know we'll get our money's worth on whatever it is we're getting done to them. Rescue 4, with regard to Rescue 4.2 and 9.6, and that can happen as Brian pointed out. It's going to take a little while to put together a spec and to get a spec out to get a truck built for the truck company. That can happen near simultaneously. All right. So if we want, because actually paying for the truck company is going to be so far out in front of so far out past the other two. I think that we use the best bang for the I agree completely with the assessment that truck 4.2 is just worn out. You could see things on it that was, you know, when we were over there the other night, you could just see things on it that are worn out. And that tilting of the sagging of the bucket is a perfect example because there's a hydraulic leak somewhere, but there's no hydraulic fluid hitting the floor, which tells me it's a leak by. It's not a leak, it's a leak within the system, which means there's a seal going somewhere. And as the chief said, we could spend thousands of hours and guessing, trying to figure out what seal it is, where, what O-ring is leaking. And maybe find it, maybe not find it. So I think the age on that is, yeah, it's time to start committing on that. One thing I might suggest, I think we as a board would make the suggestion to the chiefs to review it and come back with their recommendation on it. We know we got to get a few more years on truck 4 too, all right? And we're wearing it out. Let's maybe take it completely off of fire alarm activations. It only rolls unless there's a confirmed fire or, you know, and then just to help take some of the wear and tear off it. Something to think about. You know, I'm not saying that's the answer, but and anything that we can do to help maintain its life and help extend its life until it's replaced, I think would be a benefit. But I would leave that to the chiefs to come back with a more solid recommendation for why we shouldn't do that maybe. But again, these guys did a stellar effort for pulling this information together.
I have to agree, both sides definitely did their homework, they definitely did with, you know, came back with a great report. Mine just on top of Frankie's, I mean, if we do rehab 9.6, can we get it past the 2030 mark? You know, if we rehab it, we fix the paint, really, we fix it by 2025, and then sell it 5 years later, put money in that, something that we were just gonna get rid of anyway. So that would be only my thing is if we're gonna rehab these trucks, you know, keep going with the maintenance reports, but to see if we can push them, and then if something big is coming up and it does look like it's gonna fail, then that's when we'll have to start looking at it even closer and really buckle down. I mean, your report had a lot of trucks that were getting replaced like literally right after each other. It's the way it looks.
I think that's indicative of where we are though, Chris, because
Oh, no, I'm not.
if you look at a truck that's supposed to have a 20-year life, which is told they're supposed to have, we got 6 capital pieces. That's every 3 years, 4 months, we're replacing them. You know, if we get 24 years out of them, that's, out of a piece, we're still replacing a vehicle every 4 years.
Oh, yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying.
So it would be, it's a regular cycle.
Looking at a report here, you got a truck that's 18 years old. $9,000 into it. And we got a truck that's not even a year old and we put $6,000 out. I mean, that's if we take the 9,000 and we rehab 9.6, we might be able to get that little extra wiggle room.
Same with rescue report too.
The same thing with the rescue, absolutely. You might get that little bit of wiggle room, like John said. Well, I got what, 20,000 miles on it?
Yeah, it's
Probably boost. We reap to have that, and you might even push that out maybe another couple of years. Absolutely.
It's a great report, and we've been asking for it all year. It's good to see it finally done. I think this opens up some discussion on, ahead on the long range planning. Unfortunately, we got to step back and, now that we actually have a report of how the apparatus stands in the district and their needs, we can sit back and see, maybe we can revise some of these dates, because we're talking about 6 big pieces. We're not adding 6 chief's vehicles, a utility, any other little pieces, because they're not cheap either. No, it's a great job, well done, and it's just, money tree doesn't grow out there. Unfortunately, some people will be mad on some decisions that are probably gonna be made in the next 5 years around here, but, we all know a ladder truck needs to be replaced, but we also need to push out some of these engines, unfortunately, past the 20-year mark.
Not that it's meaningful, but I'll just clarify what my smile and smirk was before. I was thinking back to participating in the CAFS University in 2005, saying, mark my words, we're going to be saying, don't touch that button. That used to be the CAFS system. That was
Anything else?
So I guess the question is gonna be, we need to think about it. Where are we going next? What do we do with all this? What do we do with all this information right now?
There's one thing I think we should do is get back together with the long range committee so we can update the plan projected pricing of these apparatus. And I know, like you're saying, brush 9, you want to move that up so we can massage that, particularly with the new tax rate that we just applied and the change in assessed value. I think we should update that. That's great.
We need to pull that whole committee back together. The apparatus group was a subcommittee of that bigger long range plan. And the long range plan falls on the bias.
Or if I agree with Sean, I think we should get the long range committee back together and just with this report, decide it, kind of figure out your time line, and also probably just updates of the figures. So, right.
I was going to ask if you could you maybe price out how much you think that apparatus is going to cost that we replace in 10 years, 5 years? You guys have a copy of our long range plan, don't you? Yeah. So maybe because we were just taking it,
The rehab portion or a full replacement?
full replacement. Just so we can update it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it may be like, how you suggested, brush 9, maybe move it up to where? 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead, if you give, email me some of that information, then I can use the massage plan, see where we're at.
I don't think that means we sit and do nothing though until the long range plan committee comes back on this. Because I think it's very clear we're going to do something with 4.2,
Absolutely.
9.6, and rescue 4.2. I think if we start to get some people together to spitball the ideas and get some things down on paper, and I mean, the guys from I saw it in their discussion. the guys from Minusville were like, Brandon Gallagher gave that binder, he had a very, very detailed binder. Of everything that was done in converting 9.2 to Rescue 9. And he gave it to the guys from Minusville, like, holy crap, this is, we could, you know, they could use that as a framework for what, you know, not that the work's gonna be the same, but there's a lot of very similar concepts and ideas on how it was. And you know, I mean, the committee that did that, Brandon and his committee, saved all kinds of engineering by, they drew up the compartments themselves. I mean, they took pieces of cardboard, taped it together into the size of the compartments, and then saw what equipment would fit in it. They drew chalk lines on the floor to see how they could store equipment. They did a lot of the engineering that we would pay an astronomical amount to a vendor to do, when it's really not engineering work. It's you know. So I mean, I think we could get going on all three of those projects.
I totally agree.
That rehab on 9.2 Rescue 9, we're talking, that was 2016, 17?
Yeah.
$25,000 then, you're probably looking at 75.
Oh, yeah. At least so.
You want to look at real numbers, you know.
That's pre-COVID numbers.
Yeah, I think that's a report.
Those are pre-COVID numbers.
They were around there. But, yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we should move forward on move to rescue time and also 9.6. Just to be, we're going to be at a dollar amount. And hopefully that works out on and go from there.
The question on the truck port center. Hey, just looking ahead at the schedule itself, we're in November here. We got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's all coming up. We're getting right into 2024 before we know it. Should we start at least looking at members and some ideas for a truck committee? Nothing terribly official.
There's obviously going to be people interested in all three projects. And I think we need to get a good firm base of who they are. And I think both stations should be represented in all three projects. There's three are district projects. I mean, there's any number of ways we could do it. I don't know if we want formalize one committees now, or between now and the end of the year.
Say for December meeting, you know, at least the chiefs come back with recommendations for who to put.
The chiefs come back with names of people that are interested in serving on it. Talk to Chris or myself or any of the commissioners and say, hey, I'd like to have a hand in some of that. And
That's three committees, that's a lot of people.
Just get the word out now, and then come January, when things start to settle down, we get working into late winter, spring. We'll have that minutia work done, and we can really get down to the nitty gritty once the long range planning committee is ready to go.
yeah, I think the first thing that's got to be done with all of us, you sit down with the committee and you kind of scope out what's the vision for the end product. And then you build okay, now that we kind of, and that's, you know, with Rescue 4.2, that's going to be okay. What do we want to accomplish with this? We want the equipment safely stowed. We want to carry this complement equipment. We want to eliminate this. We don't use anymore. And we kind of get that vision. 9.6, I think, will be a little bit easier because it's, I won't say it's more cosmetic, but a lot of it involves paint electrolysis and that kind of stuff. But there is some compartment. Takes a better compartment. Or seems very, very feasible. With the truck company, there's a lot more to, you know, what's the vision for what we want to see in the end? Just a newer version of what's exactly sitting there, or do we want you know, do we want to take on a different role? What do we want to accomplish in the end? That's going to take a little while before you actually start sitting down with vendors and sitting down, writing the spec and doing all those kind of things. I think it's easy to get led astray or it's easy to get dragged into the weeds might just start to schedule things with vendors and going out and field trips and look at apparatus. Because then you're gonna, you're gonna be led down paths of non-accomplishment, I think.
Like I said, it's talking 3 trucks, 3 major. I think a lot of guys. I just throwing it out there, like the chief handle the remodels. Let them come back with a committee for now. Just throwing it out there again. We can take suggestions, me and you, on the start.
All right, so you want to just have the chiefs put together committees to,
Put together committees for both your 9-6 and Rescue 4-2. And if you have anybody that's interested in being on a truck committee, have them reach out to Rich or myself, and we'll try and get 4 guys from Lionsville and 2 guys from the Freestone and then us.
on the truck committee?
Yep.
Sounds great. Yeah.
So Shane, you guys can find 2 people that would like to work on the new truck. We'll take that. John and Adam, 4 guys from your department. Just have them reach out to me and Rich if they're interested, and get feelers and go from there.
And then in the meantime, you guys get a committee together to look at those rehabs.
We'll get all 3 of them going.
Get these projects going.
Awesome.
Thanks. I'd like to, well, we think about it. If we can get the scope of work for the 2 rehabs done together, some similar time frame, we could probably put it out as one bid.
So you think they get
I don't know if that would save us, I don't know, I'm thinking that would save us some money, but
3 guys from each side for
more again. So, how many did, Dan, you were involved in Rescue 9 committee, right? How many did you have on that working on it? You, Brandon, who else?
Me, Brandon, Chief Burkhardt, Mark Stein, and then obviously Chief McCray. So,
Was it 4 of you? All right, okay.
yeah, it's smarter.
so 3, 4.
Those are all bad. Yeah, if they got a committee of 3 or 4 people, that's great.
The 9-6.
And 9-6 and Rescue 4-2, yeah. You guys can come back to us with names for that for next month, I mean. And that doesn't preclude you from getting those guys started, looking at it and getting things down on paper.
You have questions still, Jim?
I mean, even on the rehab, don't we have to know what the long range plan is first? Like, we're gonna rehab spot 4-2, we're gonna rehab it as a rescue, we're gonna rehab it as an engine, the long range plan.
But on Rescue 4-2, you mean?
Yeah.
I think the plan is to continue it as
It's an engine rescue.
as an engine rescue,
And the same way with 9-6 will still be
an engine pass,
engine, yeah.
pass assignment.
Any questions?
On my end, I'd just like to see that truck 4-2 committee chief. Yeah, just, that should be the priority. Honestly, we're talking selling the apparatus over that truck. You know, Chief Carroll's report was very clear. The Lionsville members don't have confidence in that piece of apparatus. It seems like we're talking more tonight about the rehabs. We are the truck. I mean, the truck committee, I've been saying for 3 months now, that committee should have put together. I'd like to see hopefully dated by the December meeting.
Absolutely.
That needs to get done. Period.
Well, can I just ask a question? So we're in charge of 9-6 and Rescue 4-2, but you guys are handling truck 4-2?
Yes.
With the exception of people come to you, and we want you to encourage people to be involved in both projects, right? So if you've got people that are interested in the truck, tell them, reach out to Chris and myself, and we'll get them on the list, find out who we got that's interested. I don't want to exclude somebody that's interested because they didn't know how to raise their hand, right? Or they didn't know how to speak up. But I want to make sure we're exclusive as possible. When the committee is named, then obviously.
I mean, I know historically, you know, the chief's always made the recommendations, the district to accept, so I would personally expect that tradition to continue. It should be in the hands of the chief in the sense that you come up with the names for whom you should be on the committee, and you know, here's why. Like, you wouldn't pick me to be on the truck committee, you can ask the chief. You don't want me on the truck committee. Trust me, I just got wheels and whatever, but you know, I want these 5 people, 4 people, whatever. You know, make sure they're interested, you know, they should have some kind of qualification or background. At least, you know, some more experience there's probably a handful of people like we're forming one here, maybe like a Shane or, Jeff or somebody. The people are kind of qualified, but that would actually see through the project, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why I posed the question.
Yes.
Back when
Are
they,
they going to Christian, I'm sure they coming to me.
either, and I'm not trying to make a thing about this, it's just, we just we want to be inclusive, we want to get everybody, that's all. I'm not trying to diminish your role, that's what you're thinking, no. The chiefs are still gonna have a role.
Right,
Big role.
but how big is this committee gonna be? I'm saying if you got a bunch of people going to you, and you, I mean.
Well, not everybody that volunteers is gonna be on, I think. Chairman said a committee of 6. 4 and 2 is what the goal is. We want to see who out there is interested.
Yeah, who's making the selection, you two or Adam?
Ultimately, it'll be the board with it, as it has everything. What's your,
I'm not a board.
But typically, we do take the chief's recommendation and the names or.
Well, I'm saying, I feel the problem's gonna go around Adam, you're gonna get 13 people texting Chris or yourself.
could be that.
You get on, I'm just saying, or Adam say, no, he's been in the department 2.5 years, doesn't show up for 6 calls, and, he doesn't have no right to be on the committee, so.
I agree completely.
I'm just trying to save the headache on your guys' end, because we know what's gonna happen, so.
I would recommend people that are interested, see the chiefs, and that each chief gives us, hey, here's everybody I heard from. And of these, whatever, 13 people, these are the 6 I recommend. So at least we see who submitted their name and.
I'm fine with
You know,
that.
why they.
I'm fine with that, as long
Well,
as
just-
they can list names, that's
Yeah,
all I care
just,
about.
And I don't think, they should just give the recommendation to us before they tell a person they're on.
I'm fine with that.
Anything else for apparatus and equipment? Building and grounds, right?
Nothing. I've kind of been in the dark with football this past week.
District personnel, any Brian?
Nothing at this point.
Finance audits, Danny, Nick?
Sean, do you have any?
The auditors will be coming in the first week in February, but I probably should have put on their own business. Just a reminder to both departments that on December 12th, we'll be holding the elections at each department, so on that Tuesday, you could make sure that the traditional election room or voting room is free and available. I appreciate it.
Long range planning, Brian, Nick?
It sounds like, we gotta get a meeting here with the committee and Sean. Okay, so we gotta revise that, yeah, rest, a little bit here.
Policies, procedures, and membership? Brian, Nick?
Well, everybody has the Dropbox, the last one we discussed, the facility use policy. We kind of spent about 10 minutes last month, kind of going over the highlight of it. Don't know if we need to rehash long, if everybody's had a chance to look at it in Dropbox. I want to thank Bob for taking the time to put it all together and to act in actual SOP format. Inside, you'll see the policy. You'll see several appendixes where put in the application forms for each company. Also a pre and post checklist, which is kind of like here's how a member found the firehouse, here's how you left it. We discussed over time if a member leaves the place trash or whatever, the member can have that privilege revoked, obviously. The topic of certificate of insurance came up because that's as obviously it's like a general requirement across the board, pretty much any place we talk to that those people use the hall. COI was required. One thing I could possibly propose here, I want to thank Bob again for reaching out. We describe the use of the facility as a member benefit for the members for serving the community, going on calls, all that kind of stuff. And, with COI, obviously that could cost a member, I don't know, $150 to use all for a party or something like that. Bob reached out to book agent. We have the ability to add like a rider to our district insurance to cover a member who uses it. Right now, look at it, just like a blanket, it'd be like 25 uses. It would cost the district $275. You start with 25. We don't know what the demand's gonna be. Obviously, that could be tweaked if we find that members are using the hall more, we tweak it more. Right now, it's basically the cost of a gym membership reimbursement. We cover our members who want to use the hall, use either station. So I would propose that, we adopt the policy as written up the SOP format, and also look at covering the basically the COI for members who want to use the hall or the station, I should say. And if we find that we're using it more, then obviously we can tweak that a little bit. If it gets too extraneous, I think obviously you can always go back to the companies, but I just think as a member benefit and some district building that at least we do for the members is cover their insurance for use of the hall. It covers us too, protects us, so it's good for both. Yeah, any other questions or yeah?
Any questions?
I'm support both. I think it's a good idea. Just have a little sidebar with Terry, whether it should be 2 separate votes or 1 vote. I mean, suggest 2 votes.
Okay.
I propose a resolution to approve the policy that Brian put forth.
Second by Richard.
Thank you for that.
I want to especially again thank Bobby, did all that formatting and
Checklists are nice, everything.
that was Bob and I know the Priest House Committee had a lot to do with the checklists and stuff. And thank you guys for working on it.
And there's always, if we need to tweak something, because there's always something that you didn't think of.
But actually, probably would have to be a third vote, possibly Terry, to rescind all previous policies. That would just be part of the motion to accept.
Just take.
Stop this and supersede. So
Well, we should have a third vote to remove the moratorium. That would be a motion. But anyway,
Yeah.
resolutions on the.
Resolution made by Danny to accept, seconded by Rich.
Rich. Aye. Brian.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Make a motion that we rescind the moratorium.
Motion made by Rich, seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Propose a resolution to go forward with the insurance.
Insurance.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Nick. Roll call.
Dan.
Aye.
Nick.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Perfect. Yeah.
The proposal for membership for the Lansville Fire Department for John Rothrock.
I'll make the motion to accept.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. It looks like you're getting a really good member.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Got quite a resume there.
Yeah.
Low set, Nick. Oh, sorry.
30 years. It's lane class.
Low set, Brian, Nick, chiefs, presidents.
I don't know if this be low set or more membership or whatever. I don't want words on a piece of mouth, but how are we looking as far as people being updated on drills and calls and stuff? I heard there might be some issues or alliance where members do. I mean, we have an election come up in 3 weeks. Members got to know if they can or cannot vote. So I'm not sure what's going on. I think kind of not a cheap. There's something going on, but
Yep, so, once again, thank you, Durivage, for his assistance, but we have a plan in place to have that correct.
excellent.
Adam just touched on it. Hopefully in about a week it'll be corrected.
Okay, I just want to remember, so, I mean, obviously, the downside is gonna be, you get 2 for an election, and members might be, oh crap, I gotta make up 3 drills and not realizing in their own heads that they thought they were there, and it could affect voting and stuff, so it's kind of, hopefully it doesn't become an issue going forward, and thank you for working on a solution. Stays the course, so to speak. Thank you.
IT, Danny, Nick. Plan review, Brian, Nick, Chiefs.
It's been a lot, but I did get, one of the drawings, you know, let's give the sheet do it or whatever, but, apparently we got 3 CBD facilities opening up in, over on this side. I don't know if this is for you, I haven't even looked at it yet. The other thing is talking about Bill Miller. Secondary Commons is back on the board. They're supposed to be going in front of the planning board in December. For those who don't recall, it's the 5-story buildings down behind Home Depot, CVS there. I reminded the planning board chairman that it's been 2+ years since we wrote our comments, questions, concerns to the developer. We've had no response back. He was assured by the developer that they will sit down and meet with us, along with the building department, to go over our issues and concerns prior to the December meeting, but November 13th, we still haven't heard from them. I know that they were told not to even bring it from the planning board until they met with the fire district. So,
Can you just refresh my memory? Is there something with the new ambulance garage or something in that?
yeah, this is that plan where they're building a room from CVS, kind of going down the hill to the woods, and apparently developers building the shell of the building for the ambulance garage. My understanding is the ambulance association has to outfit it. You might be better.
Yeah, I think that is, the developer's got the site work in the shell, and then anything inside the walls will be the responsibility of the ambulance district itself.
The towns.
Towns, from what I understand, are pretty minimal to it.
We're not sure if the project's changed much again. The drawings they gave us were, almost 3 years ago. A lot of our concerns were made by high-rise fire department access around the buildings, vehicle chargers underground, to see not accessible or basic access uses in the parking garage. We had a few issues. But 13, I think, was to be exact.
Send a letter.
Planning board chairman has already made the developer aware, and town building department know that they have a separate meeting with us. That's all I got.
Automatic operations. Chris, do you have anything?
Yeah, the only thing we gave the chiefs a lot to do tonight with the apparatus stuff, but the only thing I would ask is don't forget to please sit down, put your heads together for a few minutes and see if there's something either strategically or operationally that we can do to get as much life as we can out of truck 402. If we can take it over fire alarm activations, it's one idea that came up. If there's something else that we can do, that will, I know you've done a stellar job so far of doing that, but we really got to think outside the box. We can do to keep that thing going.
Anything for public session? Anything for public session? Motion adjourned by Nick, seconded by Rich, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?